Welcome to Ping 24 Updates, where you get the most important news and stories from around the world every day. Subscribe my channel and click the bell icon to stay informed. In geopolitics, alliances are built on power, money, and survival, not kindness. The South China Sea standoff between China and the Philippines isn't a simple case of right versus wrong. Behind China stands a network of countries, big and small, choosing Beijing over Manila for reasons ranging from economic dependence to political survival. In international politics, it's not about who's right but who offers the most. Stay with me because by the end you'll see how deep and global this game is, and why the Philippines faces not just China, but an entire shadow alliance. Let's dive into the countries backing Beijing. First, Cambodia, a country that should be a natural ally to the Philippines within ASEAN. Instead, Cambodia acts as China's diplomatic firewall, blocking any unified ASEAN criticism of Beijing. Billions in Chinese investment have transformed Cambodia's cities and infrastructure, but this isn't charity, it's leverage. These projects, part of the Belt and Road Initiative, bind Cambodia to China's orbit. When ASEAN tries to condemn China's actions in the South China Sea, Cambodia blocks consensus. Military aid and political backing from Beijing keep Cambodia's leadership secure. There are even concerns about a Chinese military presence at Cambodia's Ream naval base, shifting the region's strategic balance. Cambodia's allegiance gives China a critical foothold within ASEAN, undermining any united front. It's a masterclass in converting economic power into political loyalty. For the Philippines, Cambodia's support for China is a major obstacle. The real battle isn't just at sea, it's in the backrooms of Phnom Penh. Next, Laos, a landlocked nation now deeply tied to China. The China-Laos Railway, a Belt and Road flagship, promised prosperity, but left Laos with billions in debt to Beijing. This economic dependency means Laos echoes China's positions in international forums, including the South China Sea. With its economic future tied to Chinese goodwill, Laos has little room to disagree. The railway brings more than goods, it delivers Chinese influence straight to Southeast Asia. For the Philippines, China's web of debt and development means facing not just a navy, but a region woven into Beijing's interests. Laos is a clear example of how economic capture becomes political support. The cost of development, siding with China. The Philippines faces a region where even small countries are locked in China's embrace. Now to South Asia, Pakistan, China's iron brother. Their alliance is built on decades of shared interests, especially rivalry with India. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a multi-billion-dollar Belt and Road project, giving China access to the Arabian Sea. China is Pakistan's main supplier of military hardware and helped develop its nuclear program. Pakistan's support for China is automatic, on Xinjiang, Taiwan, and the South China Sea. Gwadar Port, officially commercial, could become a Chinese naval foothold in the Indian Ocean. Pakistan's alliance with China is forged in steel, concrete, and shared strategic goals. For the Philippines, this means facing a steadfast opponent in every international forum. China's reach extends far beyond Asia's borders. The Philippines isn't just up against China, it's up against China's closest allies. Enter Russia, a global heavyweight and China's most significant partner. Their no-limits friendship is a strategic alignment against the US and the Western-led order. When the West sanctions Russia, China provides an economic lifeline. When the US challenges China, Russia offers diplomatic and military support. Joint military exercises and advanced weapons sales strengthen China's military edge. Russia consistently backs China on the South China Sea, criticizing international rulings favoring the Philippines. As a UN Security Council member, Russia gives China's claims added legitimacy. This partnership is a marriage of convenience, but a powerful one. For the Philippines, the dispute with China is also a dispute with Russia. The diplomatic battle is global, not regional. Russia's support makes China's position even harder to challenge. The Philippines faces a formidable bloc. Now to Venezuela, a nation in crisis, but a key Chinese partner in Latin America. China provided billions in loans, repaid with oil, giving Beijing a strategic foothold in America's backyard. As Venezuela's economy collapsed, its dependence on China deepened. In return, Venezuela offers unwavering diplomatic support, backing China on every major issue, including the South China Sea. This alliance is part of China's broader strategy support regimes at odds with the West to build a global coalition. For the Philippines, it's a reminder that China's network of support stretches across continents. Even distant, troubled countries add to Beijing's diplomatic arsenal. The battle for support is global. China's influence reaches where Western power has faded. In the Middle East, Iran and China have forged a 25-year strategic partnership. Both nations oppose U.S. influence and sanctions, and their pact covers economic, military, and technological cooperation. China invests billions in Iran's energy and infrastructure, securing discounted oil and a powerful regional partner. The deal includes military cooperation and intelligence sharing, creating a formidable anti-U.S. axis. Iran's support for China is automatic, on the South China Sea and beyond. For Iran, backing China is a way to push back against American hegemony. China's coalition is built on shared opposition to the current world order. For the Philippines, this means its maritime dispute is entangled in global power struggles. Iran's support isn't about territory, it's about shifting the global balance. China's alliances are about more than geography. In southern Africa, Zimbabwe's Look East policy made China its chief ally. When Western sanctions hit, China stepped in with investment and political protection. China gained access to Zimbabwe's mineral wealth. Zimbabwe gained a lifeline and a powerful backer at the UN. In return, Zimbabwe supports China on all key issues, including the South China Sea. This is diplomatic payback for economic and political support. China's strategy in Africa is clear investment and protection in exchange for loyalty. Dozens of African nations now form a voting bloc for Beijing in international institutions. For the Philippines, this means facing a chorus of distant voices supporting China. China's reach is truly global. In the heart of Europe, Serbia stands out as one of China's staunchest supporters. While seeking EU membership, Serbia has welcomed billions in Chinese investment, bridges, highways, and strategic industries. During the pandemic, China's medical aid won public and political goodwill. In return, Serbia backs China on Taiwan, Xinjiang, and the South China Sea, often at odds with its European neighbors. This alliance gives China a crucial foothold in Europe, creating divisions within the continent. For the Philippines, Serbia's support shows that China's influence isn't limited to Asia or Africa. Beijing's network extends into the West's own backyard. The global puzzle is more complex than it seems. China's alliances cross continents and ideologies. North Korea's alliance with China is one of survival, not equality. China is North Korea's economic lifeline, supplying food, fuel, and political cover. In return, North Korea offers unwavering loyalty, backing China on every international issue, including the South China Sea. China props up the Kim regime as a strategic buffer against U.S. troops in South Korea. North Korea's support may lack economic weight, but it reinforces the narrative of Asian solidarity against the West. For the Philippines, it's a reminder that China's allies include even the most isolated states. The alliance is about more than economics, it's about strategic positioning. North Korea's voice, though isolated, adds to China's chorus. The Philippines faces a coalition that spans the spectrum, from pariah states to global powers. China's network is as diverse as it is formidable. Finally, Myanmar, a neighbor now critically dependent on China. Since the 2021 military coup, Myanmar's junta has relied on Beijing for diplomatic cover and economic survival. In exchange, the junta has greenlit major Chinese projects, including the China-Myanmar Economic Corridor and a deep-sea port at Kyaukphyu. This port gives China direct access to the Indian Ocean, bypassing U.S.-patrolled waters. Myanmar's foreign policy now aligns with China's on every major issue, including the South China Sea. The junta's desperation has mortgaged the country's sovereignty to Beijing. Myanmar is now a client state, a strategic pawn in China's vision for Asia. For the Philippines, Myanmar represents the ultimate danger, a neighbor whose voice and power are now wielded by China. The stakes are higher than ever. China's influence is rewriting the region's balance. Looking at these countries, a pattern emerges. Their support for China isn't about the South China Sea. It's about what Beijing offers in return. Loans, political protection, technology, and a chance to resist Western influence. China has spent decades building this global network, using economic power as a diplomatic weapon. For the Philippines, the challenge is far greater than confronting Chinese ships. It's facing a worldwide alliance ready to stand with Beijing. In international politics, being right isn't always enough. Power, influence, and alliances often outweigh justice. In this game, money speaks louder than law.